Black Panther is rumored to be coming to the video games via a new EA studio. That's the news. That's the rumor, anyway, that we heard today. I think that was a Jeff Grubb joint. Black Panther. Here's what they're saying. They're saying it's going to be made by Monolith Studios ex-head fellow goes by the name of Kevin Stevens, working with Samantha Ryan, who was at Monolith. Interesting for a couple of reasons in my mind. The first one is that EA is in that gray space, right? They're not out of video game publisher jail yet, but they've made some good moves in the last couple of years that suggests they certainly are not the EA of old. And so whether you're talking about what's happening with the Star Wars games, Fallen Order, to them sort of turning the tide with Battlefront 2 after Disney was like, fuck you guys, do it right. They seem to be maybe coming around. So I'm not going to jump on the beat the fuck out of EA because of their past history at the moment. I think there's enough evidence to suggest, so let's wait and see. That's my first response. I've seen a lot of people online just getting really, it's fuck EA. I want Insomniac to do it. I love Insomniac. I think they're amazing, but unless Marvel wants to just buy Insomniac from Sony, which they could afford, and just say, look, we want to get, own development. We want to have development, which Disney's flirted with and actually done. And they've never, for whatever reason, been successful at it. But at least in console games. But the bigger thing, or two bigger things, really kind of seem more worth talking about. This is footage, of course, from Marvel's Avengers from Square, where you can play Black Panther already. And it's pretty easy to look at this. And again, let's be clear, Kevin Stevens is going to, run the studio or be the head of the studio. They haven't announced who's directing this, so we don't know what the vision is for this yet. But Black Panther, just sort of based on who he is or what his abilities are, regardless of who's inside the costume. And the rumor right now is that, you'll play after T'Challa has given up the mantle of Black Panther. I don't know how they're explaining that in the movie. I don't know if T'Challa has died or if he's vanished or what, but his powers seem consistent. They come with the suit. They come with this plant that you can grow in Wakanda and that only the Black Panther can eat, that gives him certain heightened abilities and whatnot. And he's super rich and he lives in Wakanda. So I'm sure there'll be gadgets that they'll, trick him out with to complement the sort of basic brawling aspect of it. I'm not too thrilled about this as a game character for a video game. I understand the importance of Black Panther, not just sort of to Marvel and to certainly American culture, and certainly to African Americans in American culture. And I think that's wonderful. But at a pure mechanics level, there are so many more interesting Marvel superheroes that I would want to play. And even if it's like the black thing, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look, I don't think that was EA's goal. Like, we need a black superhero to make a game about. But certainly that has been a valuable and important aspect of the character, especially since the movie came out, which is wonderful. But at that point, I'd rather have Sam Wilson, who's Captain America now, just because mechanically he flies and he's got a shield, right? And both of those things seem like they could create a lot more interesting mechanics and gameplay that I haven't done over and over and over. This almost feels like no matter how good it looks, how can it help be anything other than like, Gotham Birds of Prey, right? Which is just like, it's an open world brawler. And Insomniac's doing Wolverine, which you could say, well, how is Wolverine any different? He's not. In a lot of ways, he's got some things. You could say, Berserker's Rage or whatever, but he's a brawler as well. But the thing with Wolverine, at least, is that the character is super compelling. There's a sort of an archetype to Wolverine. We based Kratos off a handful of characters. Wolverine was one of them, that sense of just wanting to lose your fucking mind. And that can be portrayed interactively wonderfully. To portray the stoicness and wisdom and tactical brilliance of T'Challa or whoever's wearing the costume, unless they're making like a top-down strategy game, I don't really see being all that excited about it. And then it's open world. Now it is, to be fair, when they were running these guys, Kevin Stevens and what is her name, Samantha Ryan, were running Monolith. They're the ones who did the Middle Earth game, Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor. So certainly they've got the chops for it. It's weird. Well, they might have a director. They just haven't announced them. But it is weird that they've already said, this is the game, but maybe they haven't picked their director yet. That's a little odd. But regardless, my mind's open. It's Marvel. I love Marvel. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy. I loved the Insomniac games. So I'll give it a shot, but I would much rather them have picked a different superhero that has more interesting abilities than just sort of a brawler, basically. The other thing that I wonder about, what is Marvel Games? I think the guy's name is Bill Roseman, who was a comic writer, has been in the industry forever. Beautiful, moving, wonderful speech, if you look it up, that he did at DICE a couple of years back. Just really inspiring. I wonder what him and his crew have been tasked with by whoever their boss is. I don't imagine it's as vulgar, at least on the surface, as like, you're just basically making marketing material for the movies, right? It doesn't seem that way. Certainly, everything they've done has not been indicative of the fact that it's just a cash grab. They seem to clearly have their own passions and desires to express Marvel through the interactive medium. But at that point, it does make me start to wonder, when you look at Guardians and the Insomniac games, and even the Square game, Marvel's Avengers, which I didn't love. It was kind of boring, but it was beautifully made. These are all huge swings for the fences, and I assume Black Panther will be as well. It's no secret EA has been trying for quite some time to get into the Ubisoft open world market. Maybe this is the way they want to get in, or at least build their core engine and then build their own IP that they own. I don't know. But I do look at something like Annapurna and something like Marvel and go, even though it would be cool, I wouldn't expect Annapurna to team up with Marvel and make a Spider-Man game. You could do it, and I'm sure they'd do something really cool. But I think your fans would be kind of whiplash from the shift in thematic and mechanics. But I do think something like teaming up some of these franchises that Marvel has with developers and publishers that are not just going to give you, and again, Miles Morales, one of my favorite games of the last 5 years, adore that game. I have great faith in Wolverine. I love Spider-Man. I'm not knocking any of these games. But there is a question of, like, what if you brought less of not less of the superhero, but less of the big bang budget and more of the heart of it, or more of an interesting take to it. So if you did a really low budget, just brutal as fuck Punisher game, first person shooter by like 4 or 5 people, and it was just a vision of, what it means to be Frank Castle. And it really is that. It's an art piece. It's not like a big corporate product, right? You could do a lot with other Marvel characters that may not have had the spotlight, but fans know in the medium that I think would be really, really fucking cool. I have to imagine they've explored that, but so far everything Marvel Games has done has been really, whether it's the very successful mobile group or the very successful console stuff. They've got Marvel Snap that's currently, seemingly everywhere, but on my phone, which I know it's not true, but I can't wait to play it. It just makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if they ever toy with that, doing something a little bit less big and a little bit more scoped down that really gets to an essence of one of these great characters. I mean, I could see Moon Knight. I could see Daredevil. I know people want Daredevil, but again, Daredevil's the Black Panther in a different suit. I know he's not literally. And I know, wow, you see, he has the Echo look. I know. But ultimately, it's a close combat melee brawl game. That's what it's going to be. So I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on this, but of course, this is all people sitting on the sidelines having comments about something they know nothing about. For all I know, the design for the new Black Panther is the knees bees. It's awesome. The knees bees. It's the bees knees and the knees bees. It's awesome. The pedigree is there. The will seems to be there with EA. Marvel Games seems to be on a streak of treating these properties with big budget video games respectfully, and that's great. So maybe it'll be awesome. It wouldn't surprise me. But right now, based on what I know, and all I really know is shit that I've seen before, I don't look at this and go, boy, I want more of that, but I want a PS5 next-gen version of it. I just go, meh. Wakanda Forever, though. That trailer, I enjoyed the first Black Panther. It didn't blow my mind, but I enjoyed it. I love it did really well for a variety of reasons. Wakanda Forever trailer they dropped at Comic-Con a couple days ago. Ooh, lordy, that looks like a genuinely awesome fucking movie. I'm very excited. So anyway, be well. Hope you're having a good week. See you soon. Bye.